Hello, 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 and welcome again to another episode of Around the Town with your humble host, KD. Now, I told y'all before that when this documentary dropped, Quiet on the Set, that I was going to sit there and do a breakdown analysis on it. Now, I did a short video on it probably about like 2 weeks ago, but now it's finally out. I got the full version on YouTube, so we about to sit there and go through this. Now it's a 2 hour video, and I'm only giving you about a 30-minute video, so we might break this down into 3 sections, maybe two. But before I even get to all that, once again, let me sit there and say this first thing: like, share, subscribe. Just sit there and pause the video, go hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and drop a funny comment. Why do I say drop a funny comment? All right, I got a goal for April. If y'all can get me to 500 subscribers by May 1st, and this is only going out to people that sit there and are subscribed to the channel. By May 1st, if y'all get me to 500 subscribers and y'all sit there and drop some funny comments, I don't give, to be honest with you, I don't care what you drop in the comments, but I'm only going to be reading the funny ones. Top 5 funny comments in out of the month of April gets a $20 cash app. Boom. Y'all get me over 500, we're going to up the ante a little bit. But top five funniest comments, $20 cash app by May 1st. So without further ado, we're going to start this up. So I'm going to let y'all sit there and listen to some of this right quick. Before I even do this video in particular, let me get comfortable. This video in particular, to be honest with you, if you between the ages of 18 and 25, you probably don't even know none about these shows that they finna talk about. Probably the All That reboot, but 9 times out of 10, you probably don't even know about none of these shows. These are for my 30 and up crowd that actually grew up in the 90's, early 2000's, watching Nickelodeon, because this was our childhood. So without further ado, here we go.
On his shows was an open secret.
So my lawyer filed complaints, gender discrimination, hostile work environment, harassment, and it was so devastating.
How safe can any kids be in that environment? There would be even bigger problems down the line with actual pedophiles on set. These are 3 predators who worked at.
Now, first of all, it's crazy how the first minute and 15 seconds of this documentary, y'all already sitting there posting pictures of, hold on, y'all see that? Y'all see them right there? Y'all already posting pictures of the top 3 alleged pedophiles that worked at Nickelodeon from the late 90's, early 2000's. Ridiculous. Let's continue.
NICKELODEON, all in a short amount of time.
What guys, what are you for you?
It was a toxic environment. It made me trust people less.
We were there for so many hours. You get comfortable with people until you're not. I had no idea what I was saving my son from. It's a house of horrors. They find this enormous trove of child pornography.
The officer said we found Ziploc bags, each one with a girl's name on it.
11 charges of child sexual abuse related to a child.
11 Ziploc bags with little girls' names up there. Now, God only knows what they was putting in them Ziploc bags. That's crazy. That is crazy.
It made me wonder who was getting hurt.
I've been waiting 17 years for today.
It wasn't dealing with anybody on the shows or anything, right?
It was a child actor.
On one of our shows.
Yes, and they go on one of the shows.
Have you ever told your story publicly before?
All right, so hold on right quick. All right, so we back. YouTube did the 52 fake out. They put up the first 3 minutes, and then after that, this shit is just blank screen quiet. But I did find some more information about this documentary and With Your Man, because first of all, this whole documentary, like I said before, is about the producer that was hired from Nickelodeon that actually turned Nickelodeon up for a couple years, which his name is who? Dan Snyder. And now it's finally coming out. Now I told you before that your man Dan Snyder was a different type of dude. That man was a different type of dude. Now, once again, like I said, this video is informational for the youth, but for the people that's in their 30s and older that actually rush home to watch these shows and on the weekends was stuck in front of Nickelodeon, this is for y'all. So the people of my era. All right, so look. Y'all remember the famous Jet Jackson? Y'all remember that show was fire. You remember after it got canceled, about a good, I want to say 2 to 3 years later, he deleted himself. Could this have been mental situations that he was fighting inside himself because of situations like this that happened in Nickelodeon? Who knows? But let's check it out.
2000s, they enjoyed watching television shows such as Drake and Josh, The Amanda Show, All That, iCarly, and so many more like
Fire shows, all fire.
on the children's television network Nickelodeon, and all were produced by Dan Schneider.
There you go.
An explosive new docuseries. Former writers, crew members, and other former child actors have come forward with allegations of a toxic workplace culture and harassment against the network's most successful producer. But that wasn't the only bombshell revealed during the docuseries.
Your man Drake,
Arguably came from one of its
he got caught sitting there diddling a little 12-year-old girl too.
experience of being sexually abused, allegedly by a dialogue coach who previously worked at the network. Investigation Discovery's latest docuseries.
Oh, they talking about the Brian Peck dude.
Kids TV gives viewers an inside look into the allegations of toxic workplace culture in many children's TV series produced in the 90s and 2000s by Dan Schneider. Some of those allegations came from a former writer for the hit children's series The Amanda Show, Jenny Cleggan, who was one of 2 female writers employed for the show. She claimed Schneider would show pornography from his
Hold on, before they even get too in depth, right? Now, Amanda Bynes, promising star that, if I'm not mistaken, she started off on All That, was a hit on All That, and this was the original All That with Keenan and Kel, Nick Cannon, damn, what was it? What was the chunky white girl? I can't think of her name. I don't even mean to say chunky. The heavier set white girl. Damn, I can't think of her name. And she was one of the most funniest niggas up there. But Amanda Bynes, everybody thought she went crazy, which she did, but it wasn't all for no. She just had a chemical misbalance in her brain. Nah, this was years of, I don't want to say torture, but this is years of mental manipulation and just downright pedophilia sitting there scrambling up a girl brain. Shit is fucked up.
Cleggan said he would pressure the two female writers to publicly perform seemingly sexually explicit activities in front of coworkers, including asking the other female writer, Christy Stratton, to tell a story as if she's being sodomized. Stratton, who was also interviewed for this series, didn't want to speak on the incident, only saying she...
Pause. No Diddy. Why are you a producer on a children's network? And if we really want to sit there and do, Nickelodeon has always been a children since the early 90's from Hidden Temples, what Pete and Pete, what was it, Camp Ayahuasca, some shit like that. What was that other it was another show that Cuban Gooding Jr.'s brother played on too. Something something shorts, where it was basically a athletic game where they sat there and had wild kids in the field and they had all types of sports events and this, that, and the third. Like, that was classic Nickelodeon. So now it seems like Dude Ranch, all that, bro, like classic Nickelodeon, classic 90's Nickelodeon. And that's just the human shows. We're not even talking about Ren and Stimpy and all that extra jazz. But for the late 90's, when this man actually came in and revamped Nickelodeon, this is what you doing in your writing rooms. You sitting there telling your writers to sit there and make up stories about them being sodomized. How does that work in a child's area? You feel me? Like, they supposed to be writing fun sketch comedy for children. How does being sodomized funny for children? That white man crazy, y'all. I'm trying to tell you.
Not proud of it. She said working for Schneider was like being in an abusive relationship. Cleggan also discussed the inappropriate meaning behind a popular Amanda Show character's last name, Penelope Taint. She claimed that in the writer's room, Schneider said he wanted to keep the true meaning behind the character's last name a secret and said, "Don't tell what the word really means," in reference to a meaning about male genitalia. In addition to that, the two writers for the hit children's series say they both had to split a single salary between the two of them. Jenny Cleggan would later go on to sue the show's production company, alleging gender discrimination.
They had to share a salary? Nah. Ain't none of this supposed to be funny, but yo, you mean to tell me a multi-billion dollar year company? Because like I said, from, I don't want to say the beginning of the 90's, but around like 93, 94, all the way to they cut off all kids shows for real, and just started doing cartoons. Millions of kids all over America was tuned into Nickelodeon. There's no way in the world you're going to tell me that that wasn't a multi-billion dollar industry, especially from the mid 90's through the early 2000's. And these two ladies is sharing a salary. That is crazy. And I see why they sat there and did the what's the name last year, where with the writer's strike when it came to Hollywood. Y'all got niggas sharing salaries, bro. Like what?
Harassment and hostile work environment. The lawsuit was ultimately settled. I mean, when somebody's in a position of power, it means they have something they can take or give away. And if you're in that subordinate position, it can be extremely frightening. Dr. Joni Johnston is a forensic psychologist. As she explained, oftentimes it takes several complaints against a person in power for it to be taken seriously. We all know people who spoke up and were ostracized or were punished in some way. And it oftentimes takes a certain amount or number of people to keep talking and keep complaining before action is taken. And sometimes the people who are leading the pack are the ones who get stepped on. They're the ones who almost become the sacrificial lamb, if you will, for people who then eventually are able to get some momentum and get some change. And so those concerns are valid concerns. I mean, we need to work to the point where there shouldn't be valid concerns, that everybody knows that there's safety there and there's legitimate people to listen and take those seriously. But that has not been our history. And so it's understandable that those concerns are there. In addition to those claims, former crew members on several hit Nickelodeon shows allege Schneider pressured female staffers to give him massages. Some also now find it inappropriate Schneider appeared at skits with Amanda Bynes, referring to the skit where the two were in a hot tub. Bynes would appear in a swimsuit while Schneider appeared fully clothed.
I remember that episode. And I'm going to keep it real with you. I think I had been around like between the ages of 9 and 12. At that age, I felt like, dog, all right, why are you in a hot tub with this little girl? You feel me? Like now that I'm older, and once again, y'all, today's Monday. My birthday is officially in one day. Yeah, because Tuesday, yeah, one day. All right, cool. About to turn 37. Dog, it's no way in the world that you mean to tell me under the eyes of whatever entity that was sitting there working with these people, they didn't know that something was funny going on. And I'm not talking about the writers. I'm talking about the big wigs, the people that's over that the people that hired Dan Snyder. They had to know something was going on.
Some former child actors who appeared in the docuseries said Schneider developed a close relationship with Bynes, appearing to mentor and run lines with her as the two were reportedly often alone together numerous times while on set. Schneider has since defended his relationship with Bynes, who didn't appear in the docuseries. He said he supported Bynes' decision to emancipate from her parents and assisted her when she attempted to run away from home. Former child actors and alums from another Nickelodeon series, All That, shared their experience as being the few black.
Yeah, that's the new season of All That. That ain't the original season of All That. I'm gonna just let y'all know that now. This is for the younger crowd. Let me move my picture. This is for the younger crowd that watches this. That's not the original cast of All That. Sorry. It's not the original cast of All That. And mind you, the original cast of All That had more black people than that. But hey.
Actors working with Schneider on the show in the early 2000s. Brian Hearn, who starred on All That, believed he was racially stereotyped by appearing in sketches which featured him as a rapper named Little Fetus and a
I remember that. But hold on, I'm about to see something right quick. Give me 1 second. Now, I had to sit there and pull this up. So they sit there and talk about how in the early 2000s when they did the new cast members of All That, the young black brother felt discriminated because in one of his characters, he had to play a rapper called Little Fetus. Now I'm gonna show you Little Fetus.
You see it here, Tom. Little Face, Green Live. You want to sing it? I would love to. Yo, kid. Say yo, 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 embryo. Yo, 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 embryo. Little Fetus in the womb from Bella to Jelly. I'm smooth like peanut butter and I'm sweeter than jelly.
No Diddy. I'm done with that. I just want to know how is this a black fetus, but the mother that's pregnant is white. The man that's supposed to be on the microphone is the father. Hey, now we're gonna go back to what we was watching at first.
Brad Hardy starred on all that believed he was racially stereotyped by appearing in sketches which featured him as a rapper named Little Fetus and a teen who sold cookies but played the sketch seemingly referring to drug dealing. He said he was referred to as a piece of charcoal and was uncomfortable wearing the leotard costume as a growing young teen at the time. Hearn also referred to a scene that stood out to him where he was
They called that nigga Charcoal. That's crazy.
He can be heard in the clip saying he didn't like it, but the dare continued. The scene was for a sketch series called On Air Dare, which appeared as a kid's version of Fear Factor, which Hearn said after a while felt like they were a part of a torture chamber where they couldn't say no.
Whether it's an adult or whether it's a teenager who has this dream of being a star, they're becoming a star, and they're probably being reminded on a regular basis, which is another part of this power dynamics, that hey, if you leave, there's 1,000 more people lined up right behind you to take your spot. And they're aware of that. They know that I'm not in the position of power. And so if I come in and I speak up, what's going to happen to me is I might be out the door, and I know there are thousands of kids behind me who are just dying to step in here. So it just becomes so much is at stake. And so it just becomes, yes, my dream is coming true, and it's a nightmare. And yet, do I want to give up?
Now, just off of this lady sitting there talking about how the power struggle between the construct, which is Nickelodeon, and Dan Snyder, the producer, and just the verbal power that they had over these kids to where, excuse me, even if you don't feel comfortable doing the sketch, they're going to try to play it as if you don't know how lucky you are. It's millions of kids that want to be on Nickelodeon. Because I ain't even going to front. At one point in time, I sweat everything I love. I wanted to be on Nickelodeon. I thought that was the coolest shit ever. As a child, that shit had to have been the coolest shit ever. You got to sit there and think about it. You between the ages of, let's say, 8 and 12, right? And when you come home from school, you do your homework. Well, shit, around like 8 and 12, between 8 and 12, you ain't really had that much homework to do. But nonetheless, you do your homework. 9 times out of 10, you're not even doing your homework once you come home out of school. You feel what I'm saying? Once you get home out of school, it's a 3-hour block of TV waiting for you on Nickelodeon that you have to watch. Because everybody's going to be talking about it the next day, especially if it was super funny. So you got all these child stars that, whether it was a dream to be a child star or to be on TV, or whether if it was their parents' dream because they didn't make it on TV. So let me see if my child can make it on TV, and then I'm going to live my dream through my child, which is a sick method anyway. But nonetheless, for you to sit there, have that pressure as a child, like, yo, listen, this is the job. If you don't want to do it, I'm going to find somebody to do it. And now that I'm speaking about it out loud, like that's basically the work ethic of every business that it is right now. Now, I'm not saying that the work ethic as in, oh, nigga, if you don't put on that leotard and act like you a baby fetus, it's somebody else that's going to do it. But in the sense of when you're an adult and you sit there and have a job, certain things about that job, you know, in the manual or in the hand guide, you're not supposed to do that because that is against the rules, right? Cool. Now, you'll have certain situations in which you'll have upper management that will sit there and state that, yo, I don't care what the rules say. I need you to do this, that, and the third. And if you have a problem, unemployment. And at this point in time, and in the state of emergency when it comes to economics and commerce, nigga, if you got a job and if you really don't believe in yourself to sit there, because it's money out here for everybody. It's money out here for everybody and all types of facets. You feel me? Especially with the way that the internet is working now, it's a billion ways for you to sit there and find a way to make some bread on your own without having to work for the quote unquote the big company, the conglomerate, the organization, whatever you want to call it. There's too much money out here. But for those who are afraid of stepping out on that ledge and who are afraid of believing in themselves and their talents, because you gotta sit there and think about it. Whether these kids was forced into this shit or this was their dream, they believed in their talent. They went, they showed out, and they got the job. Now, in the mix of that, you got a whole bunch of nasty individuals that I can sit there and get me a job dealing with kids, and at the same time, I'm an adult, they kids. I'm in a position of power. They really don't have no power. Or they don't know that they have no power, because if I'm a high paid, if not even a high paid actor, but if I'm a high productive part of this team, and because all this is analytics. If the analytics is stating that, yo, 90% of the kids that's watching, let's say all that, because we talking about all that. Well, they talking about all that right now. Let's say 90% of the kids that's watching all that because of the statistics state that they're watching because of me and my skits. Now I have the power, but as a child, you don't know that. So being that you don't know that, you don't have the leverage to sit there and talk your way into a better situation. So now you have these people, these grown adults that understand that you don't really have the full mental capabilities to understand the power that you really have. And with that, here's where the manipulation starts. So now you're manipulating these kids to where, listen, your moms and pops and gave up their jobs to sit there and become your manager, whatever the case may be. They bring you on set, this, that, and the third. They leaving you on set with these people for hours. You got people sitting there getting in these kids' heads, i.e. Dan Snyder, which if y'all don't know, Amanda Bynes, now we're going back to the Amanda show, but she was a part of all that too, so it was all coincide together. Amanda Bynes, if I'm not mistaken, at the age of 16, Dan Snyder convinced Amanda Bynes, or helped convince her, to sit there and get emancipated from her parents in order for her to sit there and further her career, in which he helped her. Mind you, and the other I wanted to say document, but it's not a document. Docu-series. No, because it's not a docu-series, because it's only one joint, but you know what I'm talking about. The shit that we was just watching, Quiet on the Set, before that shit got cut. It said that not only was he spending copious amounts of time with Amanda Bynes behind the scenes, but he helped and pushed her into getting emancipated from her parents at a young age. And not only did he help emancipate her from getting, not only did he help her get emancipated from her parents, but he helped her. Mind you, this is a grown-ass man. This little girl at this time had to be no more than like 15, 16. You helped her and you picked her up and helped her run away from her parents. You're the producer of the show that she's the star of, because this is her show, and you help her run away from her parents.
That dream, is it going to get better? You know, I mean, there's all these things I think that we tell ourselves.
Another former child actor for the series, Giovanni Samuels, spoke on one scene where they were required to drink large amounts of fake coffee and sugar, which she later said felt like waterboarding. The two said while they were kids, they were shocked to learn sexual predators had been employed on the show. One
better. You know, I mean, there's all these things I think that we tell ourselves.
Another former child actor for the series, Giovanni Samuels, spoke on one scene where they were required to drink large amounts of fake coffee and sugar, which she later said felt like waterboarding. The two said while they were kids, they were
My fault for the overlap. I got caught by the skip.
on the show. One being a former production assistant, Jason Handy, who had worked on shows like All That and The Amanda Show. Handy was arrested in 2003 for kissing and touching a 9-year-old girl, and later.
Bro, you got arrested for kissing and touching a 9-year-old girl. You was hired by Dan, Mr. Snyder. And it was stated that at the point in time when you was hired, a lot of people didn't know, but Dan Snyder knew that you like young children. And this is the people that he's hiring to sit there and help his child stars be who they are.
Convicted for child abuse and child pornography. Handy had reportedly worked with many kids on the set. One parent of a former Amanda Show extra said her daughter had received explicit images sent by Handy. The docuseries then explores another conviction.
Now, before I end this video, because I told you I'm going to do like 2-3 parts, and I'm going to go back to this video to sit there and do the second part, and I'm going to find another video so I can do the second part. But I just wanted to end on this. The guy that they was just talking about, the guy that you see on the screen right now, that's the guy that I sat there and talked about in the last video. That's Brian Peck. That's the guy that basically sexually molested Josh from Drake and Josh. No, was it Drake or was it Josh? I believe it was Josh. No, it was Drake. Yeah, he molested Drake from Drake and Josh. All right. The guy that was just on the screen, let me hold on right quick. This guy right here. Now, they already said that he already had charges. You know what I mean? He was sitting there. He got caught kissing and fondling a 9-year-old girl. All right. So, this individual right here, right? He sat there and got emails from some of the little girls on the set, right? Now, first he's emailing the little girls like things that's supposed to be done when they get on set, this, that, and the third, blah, 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 woo, woo, woo. So it seems it doesn't seem strange, right? Because it's all business. So the story goes, one night, and I believe the girl had to been between the ages of 9 and 11. One day, one night, you get what I'm saying. She gets an email, runs to her mother crying. When she runs to her mother crying, her mother comes and look at the computer. This man sent a picture of his genitalia to a little girl in an email in the early 2000s. This is during dial-up. So do you know how long it took for you to even get on the internet? Do you know how long it took for you to even take a picture and for you to download it to the computer? Do you know how long it took for you to sit there after you downloaded it to the computer to transfer it to an email, to an attachment? And bro, you did all that to sit there and send it. We're talking about children. You did all that to send a picture of your genitalia to a child. You a sick individual. And with that, this ends part 1.5 of the dark history of Nickelodeon. Now, I'll be back tomorrow with another edition. I don't know if it's going to be on this or it's going to be on something else, but I told y'all I'm dropping every day this month. I sat there and told y'all, if y'all help me get to 500 subscribers by May 1st, the top 5 funniest comments in I'm going through all the videos that I dropped from yesterday, which was Easter, until May 1st. Top 5 comments. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to get all the information to where I can sit there and hit y'all back. If I like your comment, I'm going to hit you back. When it's time, May 1st, we're going to sit there and we're going to do the Cash App, bro. I'm trying to tell you. Y'all get me over 500, we're going to up it a little bit more. But this is what I've been thinking. Okay, so boom, this is how we're going to up it. So I'm based in New York. I'm not no big wig nigga, this, that, and the third. I like to interact with the people that interact with me on YouTube. So this what we gonna do. Cause if y'all don't know, when I first started this channel, well, when me and my partners first started this channel, we were sitting there doing a lot of things about smoking, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. Now, if y'all seen a couple of videos before, I want to say probably about a good 2-3 months ago, I was supposed to do a giveaway. I have some cookie grinders, and they're not just regular cookie grinders. They're actually display cases with a LED light and a grinder at the bottom. I believe I have like 2 or 3 of them left. So this is what I'm going to do. If y'all get me over 500 subscribers, right? And when I pick the 5 funniest comments, I'm going to pick 6. No, I'm going to pick 7. If y'all get me over 500, I'm going to pick 7. The 7 funniest subscribers, 5 people gonna get $20. One person gonna get a cookies grinder, and 2 people gonna get the other 2 cookies grinders and showcase it. It may be a surprise in it. It may not be. Who knows? But you will only know if y'all sit there get me up to 500 subscribers or over. If y'all get me over, I'm blessing a couple of people. Cause listen, I don't give a fuck what you say. A free $20 is better than nothing. And then especially if you live in New York and you get a free $20 and you might get a motherfucking a grinder with an eighth in it. Who knows? Hey, I'm just saying. But listen, I appreciate y'all. It's been another episode of Around the Town with KD, giving you the news you can use. Like, share, subscribe, and fuck with me.